Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira with another episode of Munira's Musings. Welcome to our show. Our guest today is Val Blackburn, all the way from UK. She's got special guests with her today, her twin daughters who are 5 weeks old today. And it's amazing, isn't it, to have beautiful kids and on our show. Thank you, Val, for being here. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You are welcome. So Val she's a tour guide of a different kind, and don't ask me, she'll tell us. And she is an author of children books. Thank you, Val, for being here. I appreciate it. If you would give me a moment to please allow me to introduce myself. I am Munira Zahabi. I am the niche navigator, and I help people align their skills to find the niche they harbor. All I do is work as an navigator. So if you are looking for your niche or not sure what you want to do, please go ahead and connect with me and we can get your niche figured out. Munira's Musings is my show, and I interview people with extraordinary qualities because they are helping the people with the same qualities out there, and they're using it. They found their niche and they're using what they have to transform, to help other people's lives. And that's what I want to hear about. If you have a niche and you are transforming other people's lives and want to be on my show, go ahead and connect with me and let's get you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Val. Hi, little people.
Hi, you've got one of them in the shot there.
There you go. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and please introduce this little person to us.
Okay, well, my name is Val Blackburn. Hello. And this one is Juliet. And we also have Freya as well, who is just, oh no, sweetheart, who is just on the feeding pillow. I'd hoped, because these little guys are 5 weeks old, I'd hope that they would decide to feed and sleep. And of course, you know what they say about working with children and animals, that's not going to happen. But fortunately, they do tie into my niche. As Munira said, I am a tour guide. I have a tour company called Brit Movie Tours, but also I am a children's author. And of course, these little guys, they are part of my inspiration for the second part of my job. So I'll start off by telling you about my, let's call it the 9 till 5 job, because the writing is more of the 5 till 9 again job. That's the writing fits around life, whereas the other one is the one that pays the mortgage. So Brit Movie Tours is 10 years old in November. It's owned by myself and my business partner, Lewis, and we specialize in TV and film location tours. Now, you have these in other countries. They've been really popular in the States for decades, but there wasn't one in the UK at all. So we decided to set one up. So you can do things like a Sex and the City tour and a Hunger Games tour. You know, these are, and Friends. I know loads of people go to the Friends studios and the Friends tour in New York. But there wasn't anything like that in the UK, so we decided there should be.
Yes, there should be.
Unfortunately, there now is.
There you go.
We do tours like Harry Potter tours and Downton Abbey tours and James Bond tours. Oh, and the other one is about to join us. Come on, Freya, come up and say hello, sweetheart. Mwah. We are the official Paddington Bear Tour. So nobody can do a Paddington Bear tour except us. So I wrote the script for that, and I teach the guides the tour, which is brilliant because it meant that I got to speak to Michael Bond's daughter and the location manager and people who've actually worked on the films and get loads of gossip which is basically what my job is. It is about sharing gossip. Well, there's so many tour guides out there and tour companies. Our company's it's about having fun. So that's what we like to do. We like to have a bit of fun on our tours. And
that's
also,
the most important part.
Absolutely. And if you've never been to the UK, all you know about it is what you've seen on the screen, either on telly or in the cinema. So that's something you've already got in common with everyone else on the tour. And we just take you there. And then the show becomes like a souvenir for your holiday. And a few weeks ago,
next time I come to UK, I'm going to hook up with you.
We've just also got the contract for Peaky Blinders. So we are now the official Peaky Blinders tour as well. So I do a lot of different things. I've watched Paddington Bear and Peaky Blinders, as well as a lot of other shows as well.
Wonderful. So how did this idea come about?
Well, the idea for the tour company was actually my business partner's idea, because he was in the States and went to one in the States and then came to the UK and looked for a James Bond tour, because he's massively into James Bond. And there wasn't a company. So he decided to set it up, and being a tour guide, I just jumped on the bandwagon.
Awesome.
And then the other part of my life, as you can see, I've got the twins sort of just really going for it here. The other part of my life is being a children's author, which was obviously inspired by my children. So these two here, Freya and Juliet, they are numbers 3 and 4. It was my first daughter. I've got 4 daughters. It was my first daughter who started it all. I read bedtime stories to them, but also make them up, because loads of parents do this. Come on, Freya. Come on, sweetheart. I mean, loads of parents make up stories for their children. I'm no exception. And one bedtime, she asked me for a story about a dragon and a fire engine. And, well, I didn't want to make the dragon the baddie, so I turned him into a water-breathing dragon, and he was going to join the fire brigade. So I came up with something, and she kind of liked it, and then the next night she asked for it again. So we refined it over several bedtimes until we had the story. And then she asked me for the pictures. And I cannot draw to save my life. I mean, I'm not being modest, I actually can't. So I started doing some research into how to get books published, and spoke to various other writers, and went on different companies about getting books printed. And eventually one thing sort of came to another. I decided to do it properly. I hired an illustrator, and I decided to self-publish it myself so that I could give a copy of my book to my babies. And other people liked them. Other people, it was my maternity project for my second daughter, because, well, when else am I going to have time to do it? And I spoke to some other mums in some mums groups going, I've got this book that's my daughter's, and I've been told it's quite good. And it's available online to some shops, because, you know, I pick up a book, I want to flick through it. Come on, sweetheart. You know, I want to flick through it. I want to see what the pictures are like, how big the font is, what the words are like, is the page, you know, good quality paper, that sort of thing. So I spoke to some mums in some mums groups saying, you know, this is me and this is what I've done. What do you guys think? And the thing that they really liked is that it's a real bedtime story, that there's no marketing team behind it. There's no government agendas. There's no, this is learning how to read via this phonics technique. It's pure entertainment. It is inspired by a child, written for a specific child. And it's a mum taking advantage of her maternity leave to share something that she has a connection with her children. So that's sort of the niche that I've got there. I mean, the story has gone down well. The story's really cute. People like the fact that he is a water-breathing dragon who doesn't fit in with the other dragons, but being different is what makes him special. Come on, Julia. Mwah.
Wonderful.
That's what makes him special, the fact that he is different. So it was meant as a bedtime story, only ever as a private bedtime story for my daughter. But there's a message in there that has really resonated with a lot of mums. I have mums getting in touch with me saying, you know, was your daughter bullied? Is she autistic? Is she different in some way? To which the answer is no. No, she's about as confident as you can get and as loud as you can get. But it was just a story that she really liked. But
Well,
it's really nice that mums are finding that it's helping children if they are a bit different.
this is perfectly, this is perfect because it came out of a children's mouth, right? A child's mouth.
Oh, yeah.
I want a dragon and I want a fire engine.
Yes.
How you concocted those two things and repurposed it and created a wonderful thing was just amazing. And I have heard. But
Thank you.
I haven't read the book yet. I'm looking for it in here, but I haven't found it yet. But that's the thing is that you took something of a request, and that's the thing. A child's mind is full of imagination. It is so beautiful. And if you can fulfill that purpose, that curiosity, that is amazing. And as adults, we forget how to dream, how to request, and how to concoct stories. I have a 2-year-old granddaughter who sometimes is going to sit in the car seat and she's just going to talk about stuff. And she loves trees. I don't know what's with the trees. It's that phase now that she sits outside and she talks about so many trees. And I ask her questions and she comes up with the cutest thing. The squirrel went up and the squirrel went down and the bird did this and the bird, but it's their imagination. And I am always fascinated. Now, like you, I'm not that creative, but now I'm going to take inspiration from you and I'm going to listen to her, record her and see what I can concoct. But I love this story.
Oh, there's some wonderful ones. This is where all of my stories are from something that has been requested. So the second book, Jasper the Dragon and the Fiery Sneeze, she had a cold. She was feeling miserable and she just wanted a nice story about having a cold. So in that story, there's a new dragon called Opal who has a cold and every time she sneezes, she sets things on fire. So it's Jasper's job to look after her because she needs looking after because she's sick, but also he's got to put out the fires. And as the only water-breathing dragon, that's something he can do that no one else can. But no, I completely agree with you. Children's imaginations are wonderful. I've had various really funny requests. One child wrote into me and asked if Jasper could give a lion a shower. So I wrote a story about him giving a lion a shower and sent it to this little girl. Someone else got in touch and asked for their cat, Cody. Come on. Their cat to get its head stuck in a beehive. So I wrote a story and sent it to that little, actually that was a little boy, about his cat getting his head stuck in a beehive. They come up with some wonderful ideas that actually I would never have thought of, but they are the ones that make the best stories.
So are you going to then take these stories and put them into a book series? Is that the plan? What are your...
Yes, the Jasper the Dragon series. So there's the first 2 have been published, but each book takes me about a year to work on. So because it's quite a long process, but I'm going to possibly try and squeeze another book into this maternity leave because I'm clearly don't have my hands full enough with a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and newborn twins. But it's when I've got the time to do it. As I said, the books are my passion. That's what I do in my spare time.
No, I love this story. I really do, because I think that adults forget how to imagine. They forget how to be creative. I forget how to dream. And I feel like they need to get out of this everyday rut and just imagine. Just imagine. That is such a wonderful message. I love it. I love it. So how do people get in contact with you?
Say again, please.
How do people get in contact?
Most people get in contact through my Facebook page. So it's the Jasper the Dragon series on Facebook, or a quick search for Jasper the Firefighting Dragon. And the books, they're available on Amazon. So again, it's just a quick Amazon. Oh, darling.
Oh, they are on Amazon? I haven't looked on Amazon. I need to get that.
They are available on Amazon. When we're finished, I can put a link in the comments for both the first and the second book.
That would be awesome.
And see if it's their cup of tea.
I'm going to ask you one more question. I know the babies need you. So tell me, what do you tell authors out there?
The main thing
People
is
who have a story in them and not writing.
If it's for children, because that's really what I know about. I know short stories for children, bedtime stories. It's test it out on children. So tell it to children, just, verbally tell them the story, because if they don't like it, they'll let you know. They don't care about being rude. If they like a story, you can tell. When you've refined the story and you've really found it, then write it down, then leave it. Put it away for 3 or 4 months, don't look at it. Then when you get it out again, you can see it with fresh eyes and you can see whether or not you think it is actually any good. If you still like it, read it to the child again. If the child still likes it, then start pursuing it. So there's various ways of doing it. You can send it to literary agents. Now it's very, very hard to go through the traditional channels. If you are writing for your own children, then this is possibly not the way to do it, because it can take years to get an agent. It can take years for a book to be picked up by a publishing company. And even then, for even just a children's storybook, a bedtime story, a picture book, it normally takes a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, for them to work on it. So from it being picked up to you getting a copy of the book can be 3 years. I spoke to some people about this, and they were talking about books that they commissioned in 2014 that were about to be published in 2017, which is when my first book was published. So that's why I went down the self-publishing route. I wanted to give a copy of my book to my daughter. So that's what worked for me. I decided to hire an illustrator to put the book together for me because I wanted it to be a professional job. I wanted it to look really, really good. And I knew that I couldn't do that bit myself. And I would strongly say, if you are going to do a book, please get a proofreader, because the amount of self-published books that I've seen that either are rhyming and they don't quite scan and the rhyme's really forced, or that have a spelling mistake, the wrong whether on whether, or which and which, and apostrophe in the right place, say you're instead of you are.
Yes.
And it just ruins it. It just takes away that magic, that's what you can focus on, the mistake, and it takes you out of that world of magic. The child doesn't care about the spelling mistakes, but as the adult, it does take something away. So please don't cut corners and do get a proofreader, because even with my last book, there was I got a proofreader. I gave it to 3 teachers, 2 primary school, 1 English lit teacher. I had several parents read it aloud, because it's parents who aren't experienced readers. So people go, oh no, I'm really rubbish at reading. It's like, yeah, but parent, read it to your child. Let me hear you reading it. Even then, with all of these people reading it, there was a mistake. There was a word, splash, was written as slash. But of course, we all missed it because we knew what it was supposed to say. There was a big picture of a splash. It was actually my 5-year-old using her phonics that found it, thankfully a week before it was published. But no, make sure that you don't cut corners. If you're going to do it, then do it properly. Oh, and a word of warning, avoid any vanity companies. There are some companies who will charge you for the privilege of publishing your book for you. I wouldn't do this. I'd say if you're going to do it yourself, because then you are still 100% in control of all the copyright. It is still your baby. You make the decisions and you don't have to pay. Whereas if you go with another company, you only get 25% and they charge you for it. So that's just my advice if you are going to do it. But if you do, you've got this wonderful legacy, this wonderful gift that your children can cherish until they're grown up, that they can pass on to their children. And that's something I'm really looking forward to my children being able to read it to their children.
Wonderful. This is a wonderful interview. I love it because it's creative, it's imagination, productivity at its best. Yes, you may have a 9-to-5 job, but this woman is amazing. She's got 4 daughters and 2 little ones, just 5 weeks old, and this is, it's a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing. I am
You're welcome.
overwhelmed and excited for you, because now you have a series. I know I used to read Enid Blyton.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, and I used to just devour the books that they put out. But you may have a series like that. I don't know, but I'm so excited for you. And if I do come to UK, we'll do the big fun tour. Who knows where things can go from there? But hey, if you are a writer, you have a story that you want your child to hear, or your child requests something, concoct something. You never know how big it can get. I mean, I know J.W. Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter stories. She was almost broke. She was thinking of suicide. And when she started she opened up her literal mind. And then she started writing, and it just became, oh my God, look at what happened with Harry Potter. So don't give up. Let your imagination, your creative juices flow and create something that's just amazing. I'm looking forward to purchasing your book, and I'm going to read it to my grandkids. Thank you so much.
Oh, super. Thank you.
And thank your children that they were on our show, because they're going to be
Yes, I will. They've finally fallen asleep. Go figure.
Yes. But they wanted some attention on our show. So thank you so much on Munira's Musings. If everybody, whoever wants to, please, if you like this show, please like, share, and subscribe. If you are interested in being a guest on my show, go ahead and let's connect, and let's get you booked. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group